Hey guys, we are continuing our series Love Southport as we talk about and think about what it means to love our community. Last week we spoke about that word love and what it can look like to love our communities by sharing Jesus with the people we spend time with and to have eyes that God can do incredible things through the area in which we live. This week we're focused on the second word out of our love, serve, give. Serve. And I think when we hear that word, it can bring up lots of bad thoughts. At least if you were to ask your parents, they'll mention moving chairs, volunteering their time, and possibly doing things that are an inconvenience. You see, you might hear me saying some of this and think there's just not a chance I don't want to do anything like this. Like, why do people in church always talk about serving? Like, how does it help me? And one of my earliest memories of serving my community was when I was 14 years old. There was a festival taking place in a park in Liverpool called Merseyfest. And the whole idea was to show the love of God through acts of service, a little bit like what we're doing this month. And as the year before this festival took place, there was a pilot in a local church, and I joined my youth group as we attended. My job for 3 days was just to paint metal railings. And all I remember was painting a lot of metal railings blue. And I couldn't tell you where I did it. And I'm pretty sure it was for some other youth group. And I just never attended it. But I did enjoy it. And after 3 days, the railings looked so much better, if I don't say so myself. Like, the youth group looked more welcoming. And I believe it would see more people get involved because of it. But this was only the start over the next few years as I was involved in more projects with similar aims. And the idea is, let's serve our local community to show them Jesus. And I look back and think of them days, and they were hard work, and there was no money. And I could have spent the whole time just sitting on my Xbox instead of actually doing something. The reality of it is, there was no place I'd rather be. Not only did I have fun while serving with other people, I was able to use some of my gifts and my talents to show others that Jesus really cares about them. Because I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm so convinced Jesus loves them. But don't just take my word for it. One of the most outlandish and crazy things we read in the Bible was written by a guy called John. And when we read this in the gospel that he wrote, which is called the Gospel of John, and we're going to read it now, but I just want you to remember, John was in the room when this happened, and we can read later in his life of stories, of letters that he shared with other people because of the moments like this, which he witnessed, which changed his life forever. This is what John records for us. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power and that he had come from God and he was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, you are going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you should never wash my feet." And Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." Then Lord, Simon replied, "Not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Now, I understand you might not get what's happening here. And who actually washes people's feet before a meal? Like, that just doesn't happen today. You might get someone who might wash their hands, but 2,000 years ago in the Middle East, they wouldn't just sit on tables and chairs as we do. The tables would have been much lower to the ground and they would recline on pillows. This would mean their feet would be much closer to the table. And just think about this for a moment. Their feet being close to the table, but they wore sandals. They walked on dusty paths where animals would have pooed on the ground, and I'm pretty sure they might have stepped in it. So we can establish cleaning feet was more hygienic and also this grim job. It was often a job given to slaves or servants of the house. And this is why Peter is refusing. He knows how important Jesus is, but by allowing Jesus to wash his feet, it says something of his opinion of Jesus, that he is lower than him. It's why Peter insists he should wash Jesus' feet. But did you notice how he didn't offer to wash anyone else's feet? Jesus continues by saying, "Those who have had a bath need only wash their feet. The whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." But he knew someone was going to betray him, and that was why he said not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I am your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet. You also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is messenger greater than the one who sent him." What Jesus is saying here is that I've set the example. I've came to serve, and you ought to do the same. Stop trying to think who's the most important person in the room. Stop thinking about your status. You are just totally missing the point. I'm your Lord, your God. No one is greater than I, but I'm washing your feet. My ability to serve you hasn't changed who I am. But this very act of what Jesus has done changed the disciples forever. Now their life became about serving other people. Later in John's life, he said this to a group of believers. "This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need and has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person?" Our serving of other people is an extension of God's love working through us. Some of you might be thinking, okay, I'm game for this, but how do I do it? Well, let me tell you of a couple of things. First, this month, Love Southport, we are doing some different projects. Litter picks, sending prayer cards, a food drive, and a collection for frontline workers. And we, as the church, are looking to extend God's love through serving and giving. And the first thing you could do is sign up for one of these projects, like volunteer and help. The second one community you can get readily involved is here at church. We all have gifts and skills, and what's good is they can all look very different to the people around you. But one of the best ways we can start serving is think about the interests that we have, the skills that we have, and those talents, and how we can make things better in this place. And maybe you're interested in tech or photography, you could join those teams. Or maybe you care about kids younger than you could join the kids team. I believe as we serve, we learn, and we can grow closer to God as we use our gifts He's given us and give them back to Him. Lastly, look around, look at our community and see if there's a need or something you're passionate about that you believe you can make help right. Our serving the community can happen outside the doors and organisation of the church, even though it can be motivated by God's love for us and others. Maybe there's a dance group you're currently going to and they need a volunteer. Maybe it's the school needs to raise money, or you have an elderly neighbour who needs their shopping bought for them. Maybe you could do that too. Now here's the thing, serving encourages us and shows other people we love them. I want to finish with some words written by Saint Teresa of Avila. She said this: "Christ has no body but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes with which He looks, compassion on the world. Yours are the feet with which He walks to do good. Yours are the hands with which He blesses all the world. Yours are the hands, yours are the feet, yours are the eyes, yours are His body. Christ has no body now but yours. No hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes with which He looks compassion on this world. Christ has no body now on earth but yours." Let's show the world Jesus by letting Him serve through us.